Hello, everybody. We are nearing the prelims next year. And as we move nearer and nearer to the prelims, the anxiety levels with respect to current affairs keeps on increasing. But is there a particular pattern or a particular suit through which we can approach current affairs in a more mark fetching way? This is what we are going to study or we are going to analyze in this particular webinar. Now, every time while we go from mains preparation or mains oriented preparation to prelims oriented preparation, one thing which each one of our mentor or a faculty or any coaching institute you go will tell ki change the way you study. So, what do you exactly understand by changing the way we approach current affairs? क्योंकि essentially subject, news items, topics तो same ही रहते हैं. This is what our topic of the webinar is going to be. I'll give you an example. जैसे स्टैटिक का पॉलिटी आप जब उठाते हो पढ़ने के लिए, आप मोस्टली देखोगे आप लक्ष्मीकांत के फंडामेंटल राइट्स, डीपीएसपी, प्रीएम्बल, इन सब एस्पेक्ट्स में जाते हो, देन पार्लियामेंट, जुडिशरी एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. But the moment you jump into current affairs, there are a lot of acts and schemes. And considering the pattern of UPSC in the last few years, we start reading the concepts such as freedom, liberty, etc. Similarly, current affairs में आते ही हमारे लिए geography essentially maps बन जाता है. There are two sets of maps which we usually go for in geography. एक तो आपके traditional sets of maps रहे जिसमें plateaus, deserts, various volcanic features which are there in our traditional books. We try to read that and memorize that and the locations on which they are located. Similarly, economics. Once economic survey and budget is around the corner, the what you study for that particular subject changes in current affairs. It becomes more it becomes more inclined towards the trends across various sectors. Let us take an example in this particular video so that you are more aware of what is coming for you in the webinar. So now I have taken some of the basic traditional subjects of from geography and to maps be specific. So if you see, हम maps usually prepare करते कैसे? Grasslands, major forests, seas, countries and their capital cities, different types of climate in the world. Then you have UNESCO World Heritage Sites, tropical cyclones, उनके different forms of namings. मोटा मोटी यही आपका मैप का स्टडी फॉर्म करता है when you are reading static. But if you see the last few years of UPSC, you will see a particular trend and pattern where UPSC is essentially trying to merge this map section and the news which are in current affairs. For example, let us see this geographical features. If you see previously, what we had was grassland, seas, and different types of climate in the world, major sea routes, gulfs, etc. These were the major geographical features which were being asked. In the recent times, it has changed significantly. How? If I take you first to the first part of current affairs, where geography has focused its attention on, these are lakes of environmental concern. In 2018, a particular news came on Aral Sea to be specific, and how that particular lake has dried up and shrunk in the recent past due to human activities, which is essentially a part of your environmental current affairs. Then again, the same pattern repeated in 2022, where it talked about which one of the lakes of West Africa has become dry and turned into a desert. The second aspect where UPSC has focused on from geographical features is seas. First, and seas में भी एक particular तरह के question रहे जैसे Mediterranean Sea. There were a lot of conflicts going on that year with respect to Mediterranean Sea. Or UPSC 2017 may ask the question from the neighboring countries or the bordering countries of that particular sea. Similarly, in 2019, again, the sea came this time, but with a slightly different approach where it asked you to match the correct sea with the correct bordering country. Similarly, in 2022, it asked about the rivers that were flowing into the sea. So this is again second geographical feature which becomes really important from your prelims perspective. Then this second aspect, other than geographical features, where it is heavily dependent upon the maps which have come again and again in conflict region areas, which particularly are your news items from international relations. Now, if you see this topic of conflict regions, you'll see with respect to external conflicts, it has particularly gone heavy in the last 2, 3 years, where it asked you about the land border which Ukraine shares with other countries. Again, in 2023, it asked you about the regions and what are the conflicts that are happening at that particular region. And in 2022, it asked you again about the land borders of Afghanistan. This is a direct correlation between the maps of the conflict regions which appear in your current affairs news and the questions which UPSC is asking you. Then, similarly, if I divide again the conflict region into internal conflicts, it has constantly asked you about the internal conflicts and associated map in 2023, especially like Donbas region in Syria, Kachin region in Ethiopia, and so on and so forth. It has even gone on to ask you about the regions where civil strife and food security crises have occurred, which are essentially parts of the internal conflicts which keep on appearing in the global news. So, in this coming seminar, this is what is going to be our frame of mind while approaching the webinar, where we would be essentially focusing on how do we approach static subjects in current affairs. या फिर how do what are those areas in current affairs which we should be especially focusing our mindset on with respect to static में तो आपको एक एक बुक पढ़ना पड़ता है, but in current affairs we can highlight those areas where our focus should be narrow and focused, very focused. So I'm hoping to see you all soon in this webinar. Thank you.